again, it's living in both worlds at the same time. They want a lower debt, but somehow they don't want to increase taxes. How the fuck do you plan on addressing that debt if you don't raise taxes?
If you touch my boat, I'm going to sink your island. Listen, I'm all for turning that desert into a skating rink too. Don't play with me.
Heartless. That's the problem with Republicans. So heartless, man.
Why the fuck would we debate with no notes? That's stupid, right? We're trying to get to the answer of a question.
I can. I could debate you right now and Cringy.
Yeah, because conservatives don't give a fuck about empirical reality. So obviously you can debate me without notes because you just throw shit at the wall.
Hey,
yeah, obviously.
I can still
know all your guys' talking points. I don't need to prepare for the same shit that you guys have been spewing.
Well, clearly you do because you lost that debate. So clearly you do need to prepare.
Quite frankly, you need to subscribe to Rinyald.
All right, we're gonna watch the MAGA Mogger. Absolutely, mog the fuck out of this lady.
Wow, was the mass importation of immigrants from Europe via Ellis Island justified?
Scary numbers. We're talking about numbers because we have a 37.
Okay, that's going to be dodge number 1. Moving on to try number 2. Was the importation of immigrants via Ellis Island justified?
You instigate the question, sir. The panelist above you is the one that does that. This is an open panel now. So that means if you
okay, it's going to be dodge number 2. Moving on to try number 3. Were the immigrants imported from Ellis Island justified? Was that a justified importation of immigrants? Okay, I'll take that as a concession. Thank you.
What is this Superman ass music in the background too, Cringy? What the fuck?
Constitution, what is your next question? So that I can make sure that I do the right one.
All right, so the first question will go to Cringy. Cringy, you will have 3 minutes. The timer is on the screen. Mother will have a 2-minute rebuttal. Then we will go back to Cringy for 1 minute after that. Then we will alternate. Mother will receive the second question first. The same format will continue throughout the questioning. After the 1 minute round, we will open it up for 4 minutes. That just brings it to 10 minutes per question for basic conversation between you two about the topic. So, all right.
Movie soundtrack.
Okay, here's your first question. Should the nation's border policies prioritize humanitarian values over national security interests, protection from criminal organizations, and sovereignty?
Yeah, I believe our main priority is our sovereignty. I believe we can forward that goal of being and staying a sovereign nation and enforcing our strong borders as we have under, to my knowledge, all administrations, as well as complying with the international law, like the 1951 Act on Refugees, and making sure we apply with not only our asylum laws, but also international asylum law. I think it would be, honestly, I think it would be just immoral to let countless innocent refugees go have no place to seek refuge in and leave them stranded at the U.S.-Mexico border, or any border for that matter, because they are not allowed to seek asylum. I would be maybe for banning or restricting defensive asylum claims, but when it comes to specifically affirmative asylum claims from people seeking asylum.
Why? Banning defensive asylum claims? That seems... well, I guess there could be an argument. I don't think so, though.
At a port of entry, or even out of a port of entry, just seeking it affirmatively. I would say that restrictions on that are very much against, and I think the Supreme Court is as well, as they have struck down every attempt to restrict asylum by the executive branch, not through some sort of policy by Congress.
Okay, are you done, Cringy?
Yep.
Okay, Mother, same question. Would you like me to repeat it?
No, that's okay. National security, when it comes to our border is the main purpose of a border. When it comes to asylum claims, I feel need to make sure that we have they have a ground to stand on when they're claiming asylum. I think the problem with asylum claims is that we're granting people or letting people into the country based on economical hardships in their country. I think this is a problem. I think we have certain set standards that we need to abide by when it comes to asylum. I also think that there needs to be a proper vetting process at the border, especially when we have large caravans coming through the border. I don't believe that catch and release is a good policy, and I believe that the closest thing that we had to making sure that the asylum claims that were coming across the border were good with a stay in Mexico policy. I think that that was a good policy, and it also allowed the American government to be able to vet anybody that was going to be claiming asylum to stay in Mexico until we got to hear that claim, or until their number came up. I don't believe that humanitarianism should come before national security. I think that our national security needs to come first.
Okay, Cringy, would you?
I really don't like the framing of this question either. Like the idea that somehow national security has to stand like juxtaposed to humanitarian the humanitarian aid. It's just that it doesn't need to. Like there's obviously going to be give and take, but like we can have national security. We can like make things or do things that make sense in protecting our national security without being anti-humanitarian. Right. And it feels like a lot of the Republicans or conservatives right now are actually anti-humanitarian, but they're just doing it under the guise of national security. Is there an argument towards like, okay, there should be some vetting process before we just kind of like let them out of detention? Yeah, maybe. I'm not even certain if that does exist. It's possible that does exist, that there is some sort of vetting. I don't know if it's the case that somebody claims asylum and we just say, okay, be on your way. Like we don't look into their case literally at all. I don't know if that's the case. But even if it was, we have to look at the counterfactual, right? Like a world like Joe Biden's, right? Like the conservative delusion of what Joe Biden's border policy was is still preferable to suspending asylum, right? Like if we are completely abandoning humanitarianism, just for this like vague posturing towards national security that hasn't actually manifested in any real problem, I don't understand why to do that. I guess like there's different policies that could get around this. I'd have to think about banning defensive asylum, because the more I think about it, the more I feel like it actually might be kind of based. But yeah, like this juxtaposition of national security or humanitarian aid, I just don't think that actually is real.
Like to rebuttal that for 1 minute?
Yeah, for sure. It is going to be the case that we do in fact vet asylum seekers. We have 2 biometric checks done by FBI offices in 4 offices in places like El Salvador and Venezuela. The notion that we do not run any biometric checks or background checks on asylum seekers is just going to be completely false. The MPP is not only, in all likelihood, against the international asylum law we agreed to in the 1951 Refugee Act, but also is antithetical to the entire concept of asylum. The entire concept of asylum is that somebody is in immediate danger and yeah,
this is what I was hitting at, right? Like some person, it was in the debate last night, it's going to be posted on the YouTube channel later. They were saying like, oh, we need to keep Remain in Mexico in place because there's no way to vet these people when they come in. But the reason that they were claiming that the border crisis was such a big problem is because people were being taken advantage of by the cartels. It's like, well, you want to keep these people in Mexican border cities where like the cartels literally raid these places all the fucking time while they're waiting for their asylum case to be litigated because you're too concerned about the cartel? That makes no fucking sense, right? Like, why do we have asylum seekers if we're just going to kick them out into Mexico or just suspend it? It just doesn't make sense. Like, it's the same thing where like, oh, well, if you're claiming asylum, you should be doing it from your country. You have to apply first. Why would they be seeking asylum if they could just do it from their country, right? Like why would they just immigrate in the normal way?
Immediate harm and needs to seek refuge immediately, denying them that refuge and denying them the freedom to roam in the country they're seeking refuge in, and making them stay in a place like Mexico would be actively harming them and is literally antithetical to the point of asylum. To even suggest this is to disregard the concept of asylum entirely.
Constitution, would you like them to have a rebuttal for that, or would you like to move on to the next question?
Yeah, I'm going to open it for 4 minutes, and y'all can just go back and forth on that. No personal attacks. Keep it respectful. Here you go.
Okay, well, I disagree. We all know that biometrics and things like DNA are not being taken at the border. If they were being taken at the border, people that have been removed from this country and then let back in through the southern border without any checks, any biometrics done at all, we have proof that this has happened, and we need to look no further than Lake and Riley. Also,
are you denying? Wait, what?
No. Jocelyn Nungarty were also removed and then let back into the southern border without any biometrics or anything. And then when they were booked into county jail for multiple different offenses, they were released, and ICE agents were not contacted to pick them up. So to say that we have proper vetting at the southern border in every case would be false. We know this by
was Lake and Riley's attacker an asylum seeker?
Did I say anything about him being an asylum seeker? You said something about...
We're talking about asylum.
Yes, and we're talking about the fact that you said that they were all given biometrics and everything at the border.
Yes, I said asylum seekers. I said asylum seekers are given biometric checks. That is true. Was Lake and Riley's asylum... Well, I'm going to ask you, was Lake and Riley's attacker an asylum seeker?
No, but...
okay, so why'd you bring that up?
Abrego Garcia was.
True.
Are we bringing up Abrego Garcia right now?
That was a terrible decision. That was a terrible point to make too. Abrego Garcia had a deportation order because of that. He came in, he was seeking asylum, he got kicked out, he came back. That's why he had a deportation order. That's the whole point, right? He seeked asylum again and it didn't come up.
Well, I mean, this is
That's my argument.
Well, it's another instance where somebody was removed from the country and then came back in through the southern border and was then caught again and then having to give an asylum claim that was denied twice and came up for deportation and was not.
So it looks like the system worked. It looked like the system worked then, did it not?
True.
No, because if he would have been properly vetted at the border, then he wouldn't have not been let back in since he had already been removed.
Wait, I'm sorry. He got caught. He was an illegal immigrant, correct?
He had already been removed before he came back in.
Yeah, and then he came back in because he came back in as an illegal, correct?
He came back in through the southern border, yes.
As an illegal.
But we had to, when he sucked the second time, I think he was seeking asylum or withholding. So there's other processes that you have to do when you're seeking withholding, but they could have deported him to literally any other place, right? So like, he had an order for his deportation, right? His asylum claim was denied. He had an order for deportation. That's it. Yes, the process worked as it was supposed to.
No, he
so if an illegal immigrant comes,
he wasn't a godaway. He came in through the southern border. We are talking about the security at the southern border. We are talking about the fact that you said that DNA.
Okay, by what visa? What means?
You said that biometrics were taken at the border, and to assume that they aren't would be untrue. I am simply
asylum seekers
rebuting that claim.
Do get biometric scans. That is true. So I'm just curious. Are crimes committed by individuals in a group representative of that whole group? Okay, wait, I'm sorry.
And I've given
Do biometrics work every single time?
30 seconds.
Do biometrics work every single time? If they have a record in their country and we have a database with that country, we share information with that country on their criminal records, yes, we absolutely do.
Okay, I'm sorry. Do administrative errors happen?
Okay, so are you changing the?
It would be ridiculous to say that because there are some instances of crimes being committed by asylum seekers that therefore biometric that we are not doing any biometric checks or scanning at the border. That would be an absurd and ridiculous claim. The fact of the matter is, we are doing biometric scans.
Yeah, the argument is literally like, oh, you think that police officers enforce crime? What about this one girl who got murdered? Or like enforce the law, prevent crime? What about this one girl who got murdered? Yeah.
We are doing biometric scans. There is a vetting process. To claim that there isn't is absurd.
All right.
Okay.
All right, moving on. All right, the next question will go to Mother Triss.
By the way, I'm just seeding a lot of the facts to this are accurate because Cringy and Scratch know more about immigration policy than I do. So I'm just gonna seed a lot of the facts are true for the sake of this.
Should the U.S. immigration system massively increase the number of employment-based green cards to eliminate the transition, backlog, and grant foreign professionals immediate permanent status? Or is the current system of long-term temporary status a necessary control mechanism?
Current status is appropriate.
Before or at the time of the USCI interview, I assume that's the reasonable fear interview, right? Applicant fingerprints are submitted and biometric checks are initiated. The biometric checks initiated by USCIS for refugee applicants include FBI fingerprint check, DHS automated biometric identification system, DoD Defense Forensics Biometric Agency automated biometric identification system. Okay.
For
like
the vetting
right.
and the green card status as well as visas. I do not think that we need to increase the number of H-1B visas nor green cards in order to fix any kind of backlog. If we do that, we're risking national security. When we start forcing people through into this country in order to fix a problem, we're just going to create more problems. Also, we have more people waiting for their citizenship, not specifically for visas, but other like asylum that claims that are actually relevant, refugee claims that need to be heard. So I think that if we're going to put those people on the back burner, it definitely should not be for increasing.
Is this my goat Cringy's debate? Yes, it is. I'm trying to get him in VC to ask him questions.
Green card status or any kind of visa status. I also think that it hurts the American worker. The more people that we bring into this country and offer them work, the less work there is for the American people. So I think that we need to take into consideration demand as well as resources, because resources being spent on people that we're giving green card status to, especially if they're coming here and they do not speak English, they need to learn our ways of life.
Oh, shit, you're here. Okay, can you... Oh, wait, whoa. Wait, hold on. Give me 1 second. Okay, 1, 2, can you hear me? Can I hear you?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. Okay, so at what point is the biometric stuff done for asylum seeker or refugee status seeker people? Is it at the credible fear interview? Is that the idea?
After.
After? At what point? So, like, they come to the border, right? They say, I seek asylum.
All right, let me pause your live, bro. The feedback is, oh my.
Yeah, I would have suggested you do that right out the bat. Yeah. So, you come to the border, you say, I'm an asylum seeker. They take you, they do the credible fear interview, and then they do the biometric and let you go? Is that the idea?
Yeah, you're kept in, like, DHS detention. They'll do their first biometric scan. Then you'll let you go while they run the second biometric scan.
What would the second biometric scan do?
I literally think it's just like contacting the foreign FBI agency.
Oh, to see if there's like matches?
Yeah.
Why would they let you go after or before that happens?
Because I don't know. It's just how it is. They just run 2. It's just how they do it.
So the first biometric is to get your system into their database, right? I assume?
Yeah.
And then the second one is to check what they have with the foreign authorities.
Yeah.
That's kind of retarded, but okay. That's my big question. Wow. So, I mean, do we agree that they should probably just keep them in detention until the second one comes back?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
The reason they don't do that right now, or the reason this isn't DHS's policy, is because the number of people they can have in the DHS custody as the time is limited, so they're just moving people through as quickly as possible.
Sure. Okay. Okay, that's all. I was just curious about that.
Okay.
All right, love you, buddy. He wasn't talking in stream chat, so I didn't know if he was actually here.
It's going to take taxpayer dollar resources to be able to get them to the point to where they're going to be able to be in order to be educated, to be working, to be trained, all of these things. We do not have the resources for this. I don't think that would benefit the country at all. I think that we need to stick to the process that we have until we can figure out exactly who is here and how many people we need to bring into this country in order to maximize our economy as well as our innovation.
Cringy, you have 2 minutes.
Okay, it's going to be a fact that immigrants are economically and fiscally beneficial over their lifetimes. I see no reason not to increase the amount of green cards that are handed out and not remove the artificial limiters and caps on visas that we currently have, other than one of purely of xenophobia.
I will say, this talking point from MAGA is just like complete and utter bullshit, right? Like the fact that, and it kind of speaks towards their whole thing, and leftists do this a lot too. It's really strange. 1.25 speed, 1.5 speed, it's 1.25, buddy. Leftists do this a lot too, and it's really frustrating, where they'll point out a problem with a system and say, before any change can ever happen to the system at all, we have to tear it all down. Why? Why? For what? Oh, he's telling me to put it up to 1.5. Okay. Yeah, well, like for what reason do we have to get literally every single illegal immigrant out of the country before we administer more visas? That doesn't make any sense. It's the same way with, like, I ask, what does Donald Trump want to do to actually change any of the legal immigration processes? And they say, oh, well, we need to get all the illegal people out first. Why? Why is that stopping anybody? Yeah, it's just like this bullshit idea that in order to fix something, you have to completely tear down 100% of it before you could even begin to address the 1% that was actually wrong with the system in the first place.
Yeah, I would be curious if my opponent would say that the immigrants that came over from Ellis Islands were justified because back then there was a substantially less vigorous vetting system, and plenty of those immigrants also did not know English. To suggest that immigrants aren't economically or fiscally beneficial, or to suggest
also, I don't know if Cringy's watching this. This is tech, okay? You might want to consider Norm Finkelstein maxing. And what I mean is, I think one of the biggest reasons why you stutter so much is because you try to talk faster than your brain can actually get the words to you, right? So if you just mellow out, if you just talk at about this speed, you're going to notice that your stuttering goes away more or less, and it's going to be kind of annoying. But especially in times where you have like timed responses, and I know you're not going to use all 130 of it. It's going to cut down on your stuttering a lot. You don't have to worry about interruptions, because like one of the big reasons why you want to talk fast is to prevent somebody from cutting in on you, but you have timed responses. I would really, really suggest you just like slow down a little bit. Just slow down a little.
Immigrants are somehow negatively impacting this country in some profound way would just be false.
Mother, would you like to rebuttal 1 minute?
According to the CBO, illegal immigrants and immigrants in this country that are not naturalized or are using resources cost the American taxpayer about $150.7 billion every single year. These costs will increase the more we let into the country, especially if we are talking about children, if we are talking about families coming here on green card status or visa status, we are talking about educating these children, we are talking about resources, we are talking about all of the amenities that they are going to need.
Also, I don't know why, did she cite a study for illegal immigrants?
We are talking about every single year. Naturalized. According to the CBO, illegal immigrants and immigrants in this country that are not naturalized or are using resources cost the American taxpayer about $150.7 billion.
Why would she use a study for illegal immigrants to talk about the fiscal drain of green card holders? Hello? Why? I thought this was in reference to administering more green cards and visas. Why would you cite somebody without lawful access, which, by the way, that study I'm pretty sure is bullshit. I think that's the one that includes the I think that's the one that talks about the fiscal drain of the child, but then doesn't take into account the fiscal positives of the child. But regardless of that, like, we're not talking about the same group.
Until that point, they are a drain on the economy. The resources that we use in order to house and fund them cost more than it does in the tax revenue that they bring in, which is only about $90 billion.
Time. All right. Well, I'll open it up for both of you.
4 minutes, guys. Go ahead.
Okay. So
also, I promise you that this person is talking about exclusively the direct revenue that's brought in by green card holders, and I highly doubt that she's taking into account any of like the macro stuff of like increasing demand increases supply. Like, I doubt she's taking into account any of that. It's probably just like the sheer amount of money that they add into circulation. But then she's like holding it against the cost of all undocumented immigrants, period.
Kano Institute, if you look at data from the Harvard Business Institute, if you look at data from basically National Bureau of Economic Research, you look at all of that data, every time it says that immigrants are fiscally beneficial, they are economically beneficial to our country over their lifetimes. To look at things within the lifetime of 18 years when an immigrant is a child, or to look at an immigrant's economic impact for the first 5 years of an immigrant coming here is forgetting why we want immigration. It is a long-term investment into our countries. So I'm going to ask the question: was the importation of immigrants via Ellis Island justified?
This is an open panel, son. This is the 4 minutes. I don't get to take questions from you. I get to rebut everything you just said. That's how this works. So incorrect. Again, $150 billion. And if we actually look at the CBO and we take into consideration other data that has been compiled, the amount of resources that are being used by immigrants, non-legal citizens versus American citizens is more than that native-born American citizens are actually using. So when we take into consideration those three aspects and the resources that are being used, and the fact that native-born Americans are taking up less resources than immigrants and non-legal immigrants in this country, then we need to take into consideration the net fiscal drain of $150.7 billion versus the net fiscal positive that you say there is. Even if the net fiscal positive, when we add the revenue that they bring into the country, which is about $90 billion, we also have to take into consideration the subsidies that are being sent to their countries that is not being taxed by our government, which means that money is not going into our economy, it's going to base other economies. So $60 billion went to Mexico last year from people sending their money back over to Mexico. That's $60 billion that our economy doesn't get, doesn't go into our resources. Those taxes don't go into our Social Security, our Medicaid. That is money that is
also not really true. I mean, like, we live in a global economy, so it's not like if money somehow goes out of the country, it can't come back in. I don't think that's necessarily true, but
sent out of the country that is made inside the country that we do not profit from. So that we're not taking that money into consideration. So when you want to take that money into consideration with $150 billion, you're looking at about $210 billion every single year with the money that they're sending outside the country. Remittances are a problem.
Okay, scary numbers. Wow. Was the mass importation of immigrants from Europe via Ellis Island justified?
scary numbers. We're talking about numbers because we have a 37.
Okay, that's going to be dodge number one. Moving on to try number two. Was the importation of immigrants by Ellis Island justified?
You instigate the question, sir. The panelist above you is the one that does that. This is an open panel now. So that means if you
it's going to be dodge number two. Moving on to try number three. Were the immigrants imported from Ellis Island justified? Was that a justified importation of immigrants? Okay, I'll take that as a concession. Thank you. We can move on.
Like this idea that somehow you came here to debate, but really it's just monologues back and forth. Like, what do you think cross-examination is, right? Like this is the whole idea, right? To go there and actually exchange ideas. If you're not willing to answer any questions in regard to your ideas, right? Why?
Constitution. What is your next question? So that I can make sure that I do the right one.
She just let him dictate the answer. Wait, how is it that she let him? She was like, no, I'm not going to let you dictate this. You're not allowed to ask questions. And then Cringy says, okay, if you're not going to answer, then we'll just move on. And she's like, okay, let's move on. Okay.
Should be to what extent?
Yeah, I killed the wrong one. Hang on. There you go.
Okay, this goes to Cringy first, please. To what extent should federal funding be immediately allocated to hire more immigration judges and administrative staff to process this massive backlog? And what specific statutory or regulatory changes should be enacted to expedite the process without compromising due process standards for legitimate claimants?
Yeah, I would probably just...
Apparently this moderator doesn't know that illegal immigrants don't get due process.
Actually, I have this other response written down. I might as well just read that. In order to deal with the asylum backlog, we should increase funding immigration judges and restrict asylum claims that are in defense of deportation. Who's the echo?
I'm not sure.
Sorry, is this really?
It might be me. Give me a second.
It could be me. Go ahead.
I love that ChatGPT.
Okay. In order to deal with the asylum backlog, we should increase funding to immigration judges and restrict asylum.
Did he mog at her?
In order to...
I love that ChatGPT.
Okay.
The subtle mog after the ChatGPT accusation.
In order to deal with the asylum backlog, we should increase funding to immigration judges and restrict asylum claims that are in defense of deportation. We should not ban asylum, as that would be a violation of international law and would leave untold numbers of people with no safe country to seek refuge in. Nor should we implement policies like remain in Mexico, which is not only a violation of international law, but is also antithetical to the concept of asylum.
Okay, since he didn't understand the question, I'm going to answer it. I think that the number of the number of judges that we have that hear these asylum claims is sufficient when we don't have 10 million people search the border in 4 years. We don't have this kind of a problem normally seeing these asylum claims. And while
the amount of judges isn't a problem if we don't take into account how many people the judges are expected to litigate. Yeah? Yeah? What? Yeah, we have enough workers as long as we're producing one thing a day. Okay, you're expected to produce 200 things a day, right? You don't have enough workers. Hello? Mother is crashing out on her own live right now about this.
These asylum claims are being heard under the current system that we have, they are able to stay here. They are able to stay here. They are able to work. They get their ITIN numbers, and they are actually able to feed into the system. These are the people that are actually here that are waiting to have asylum claims heard. We do not need more judges to fill this void. What we need is we need to make sure that we have actual security and a closed border. That way we don't have the backlog that we have right now. As far as what's going on right now, if you're being picked up or your asylum claims are being denied, you will be deported. The Supreme Court is very stringent when it comes to TPS status in the United States of America, and that's why they just removed it for citizens from five different countries. I think that these processes need to be a little bit more stringent, in my opinion, and I don't think that hiring more judges is the answer. I think that we need to keep with the system that we have. We just need to enforce the laws that are on the book.
Okay, Cringy, you have 1 minute to rebuttal that.
Yeah, I don't think the current 800 judges that are allocated, immigration judges that are currently allocated to our immigration system is nearly enough for the hundreds of thousands of people who want to immigrate here per year and the hundreds of thousands of people who could possibly need their services. I also would ask my opponent what they mean by a closed border. To my knowledge, the border has been closed. Has there been some sort of dereliction of duty by some sort of administration? Is there something I'm not aware of? Because I've never heard of this term, closed border. What do you mean?
Yeah, that would be the prior administration where we had over 5,000 coming through every single day. And we even had legislation put on the table where that would be the cap, where 5,000 a day would be let into the country. There is no way with the Border Patrol resources that we have down at the border that we could have properly vetted 5,000 people every single day into the country. So that is what I mean by did we not have a closed border?
Hello? That's a concession? Hello? There's no way with the materials with the materials that we had right now that we could vet all of the people coming to the border? That's a concession? We need more judges? Hello? Unless she thinks that we should just shut down asylum, in which case, make them bite that bullet. If they're saying, hey, we can't take in all of these people, let's shut down asylum, then make them say it.
No, we did not. We had that opened up the border.
What defines a closed border? Like, is it encounters? Is it like, what is it?
Caravans. We had people sleeping under bridges waiting to be supposedly seen by ICE. They were being seen and released within 24 hours into the interior of the country. This has never been done before in the history, and that is why we have the problems that we are having with deportations right now. The border is wide open, and everybody knows that.
So when you say border was wide open, are you saying that like Joe Biden wasn't enforcing the law? There's a dereliction of duty? Like, what's the...
That's exactly what I just said.
Okay, so what law wasn't he enforcing?
The President of the United States is charged with national security. His number one priority is making sure that the American people are secure in their persons and their property.
Okay, so that's going to be dodge number one. Moving on to try number two of answering my question. What law was he enforcing?
Refuses to enforce border and immigration law, which is
his dodge number two. Moving on to try number three. What law was he not enforcing?
I will. So you're going to stop interrupting me. When he fails to do his job and allows law to be thwarted, that means that the president is derelict in his duty in protecting the American citizen from all threats, foreign and domestic, coming across that border.
Ready to answer my question, or? Nope. Okay, I'll take this concession. Host, we move on.
What is this kid doing?
It's not your job to ask questions, Cringy.
Right, you're supposed to be debating, Cringy, not asking questions.
Like, I don't know what I'll take that as a concession. I'm not.
Okay, I'm sorry. What is the? Wait, I'm sorry. What is the Socratic method?
You don't run this live. I hope you like. I don't understand what you think you're doing.
All right,
is the Socratic method? Wait, is the Socratic method an invalid form of argumentation within this live? If it is, then I should have been informed of this before.
No way. Okay, is she back to
but we're the racists. Yes, conservatives are the racists. That's why.
Yes, I told you. I told you, piece of shit. Which part of ChatGPT was you actually engaging on the debate? Because you were reading about 3/4 of the debate.
You're just okay. So you're lying. So
you were reading 3/4 of the debate.
I understand, American. I understand that you like to project your own debate habits onto him, but there's no need to do that.
Everybody can see you.
Oh, let's not crash out here. Okay.
Off the screen. Every single fucking thing that got fucking presented to you.
Scratch literally isn't cringy.
And then you had one fucking answer that you had written down after you tried to fish for the debate questions. You're a fucking loser. And they're like, I'll take that as a concession. I'll take that as a concession.
I was going to say that. That's why I was kind of mad you dropped it.
Weirdo. Learn how to fucking debate and stop using ChatGPT. Actually educate yourself and stop letting a computer debate for you.
Yeah, I don't bring the computer with me. See, everything that's why I can't give y'all details.
Hold on.
It's for whatever you feel like you need to use it for. But now we're moving on to foreign policy.
Okay, this goes to Mother. The U.S. often justifies the imposition of tariffs, particularly on high technology and critical mineral imports under Section 232. Critics argue this is a pretext for protectionism, incurring significant economic costs for U.S. consumers and downstream industries. To what extent is the domestic economic cost of widespread strategic tariffs and accountable trade-off for the purported gain? Sorry, it's hard for me to see. Purported gain in national security. Did you get all that?
I think so.
Okay.
Okay. So when you take a look at the reason for tariffs are a multifaceted tool that the President of the United States can do to secure manufacturing in the United States of America, to secure trade, which means fair trade from country to country, and also for foreign policy. He can use tariffs for these three things. So in order to protect manufacturing in the United States of America, in order to be able to produce the chips and the equipment that we need here with the minerals that we are bringing into the country, or that we are making contracts to sign with these countries through the tariffs, we are going to need this equipment. And this is important for our national security, because if we don't have the technology that we need secured in our country to run our military equipment, as well as our electrical grids, our devices, and everything that we need for communications as far as military is concerned, these tariffs are a strategic move by the president to make sure that we block out China, so that our foreign adversary that is putting a monopoly on chips right now is set into a block. So if we are trying to make moves with Taiwan or TCMA or anything like that, we're going to need to put tariffs on certain countries on certain items that are coming into the United States, or we're not going to be able to protect those manufacturing jobs. If we allow things like auto parts or auto industries to fail because we are importing more foreign cars and more foreign parts that we are the trade going in and out to their country, especially when it comes to automobiles and stuff like that, that's going to hurt our manufacturing line in the United States of America and make us more reliant on foreign adversaries for the equipment that we need in our own country. If we are to let this go and we don't enact tariffs and we allow certain countries to have higher tariffs on certain goods that we are shipping or are our main base exports that build or boost our economy.
Something that Trump supporters do all the fucking time, and it's so annoying, is that they'll give a decent argument for tariffs for national security. That's a decent argument, right? Saying like, oh, well, we want to tariff the fuck out of China because they're our adversary. We don't want to be reliant on China for all of this bullshit because it looks like we're like we actually might be getting into some sort of conflict with China at some point down the road. That seems fine, right? The two problems is one, all right, so much for the fucking peace president, all right? I thought like literally initiating a trade war because you want it to be a trade war, right? Like that's literally what you're advocating for. So that's the first thing, but that's kind of rhetorical, right? And then the second thing is, how does that justify every other country? How does that not just justify the China tariffs? How do you use this to justify Liberation Day?
We are no longer able to export those because they're exported at such a higher tariff while we're importing those items at a lower tariff. It's going to cut out our manufacturing base, and all of the companies that are importing that are paying these tariffs are going to outsource. So in order to stop that from happening, you want to put tariffs on the corporations that left, try to get them to bring back the corporations into the United States of America so that tariff is no longer an issue. Now they can pass the tariff on to the consumer, but most corporations are going to choose not to do that. They're going to choose not to do that because as the American consumer can choose where they want to buy their product and how much they want to buy it for.
They're going to choose can I get any evidence of that at all? This is why I said, like, this is why you need to do research for debates, right? Is there anything to suggest that a company is just going to eat the cost that's raised by tariffs? Why the fuck would they do that? And also, like, you're just admitting that these tariffs are making companies less profitable? Why do you support tax cuts on the rich again?
So if somebody is going to charge an extra $5 for a product that is being imported from China and you can get it for $5 left because it's made in the United States of America, that is the purpose of the tariff.
Also, no engagement with like input costs or whatever. Like the fact that if you're tariffing something like steel, people use steel to make higher level goods. So it's not just raising the price of foreign manufacturing. Just no Trump supporter ever addresses that unless they're specifically asked, because they know that it's incredibly hard to get around. Like, if you're supporting the tariffs, you have to just bite the fact that it's going to increase costs. You can't live in this world where you get the national security benefits, but you don't get you get to move away from biting all of the economic harm that they objectively cause.
You have 2 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Tariffs are in fact a tool. They aren't inherently bad. Targeted tariffs to protect some like low level, just very basic manufacturing could potentially be in our interest first, like to keep up some sort of national security. Although I find it quite shaky, as for the justification of tariffs to the extent that Mogger is proposing.
They can't just eat it because they're obligated to their to get ROI for their shareholders. Yeah, that's true.
I think investing in things or supporting industries like raw resource manufacturing is inherently less productive and would move labor from more productive industries such as software engineering and technological development of things such as pharmaceuticals. To invest or support these less productive industries would inherently lessen our economic position on the world stage, making us weaker against our foreign and economic enemies like China. I do not want the U.S. to be in a precarious economic position towards China. I want the U.S. to be in a strong economic position towards China. And the future, and the way we do that is by securing peace and diplomacy. Sorry, I have to actually do a script here. Is by securing peace and diplomacy with our allies across the sea, in Europe, Taiwan, and in Southeast Asia, and engaging in things like friendshoring in order to move manufacturing base from China to those other countries. The U.S. is privileged in being able to export things like thoughts and ideas, not manufacturing raw resources. It is
something that Cringy needs to do too, and this is why people thought he was reading off of AI. Is that he just, whenever he has an opening statement, he has to be more organic in delivering it. Like when you watch, not to jerk myself off or whatever, but when you watch my opening statement on Gibbs or wherever, right, it doesn't look like I'm reading off of a thing, right? And I do that intentionally, right? Like I try and memorize the opening statement as best as I can to where I just use the written form as like basically an outline of all of the points that I need to hit. I think Cringy would really, really benefit from that because, obviously it would save him so much fucking unnecessary stupid drama if he was just a little more natural while reading out his opening statements.
Most productive, and industries that are the most productive tend to be not to be in manufacturing and raw resource extraction.
Mother, you have 1 minute.
1 minute, and I'm not going to open it up. We're going to go to the next question, but it'll make sense on why. So.
Thoughts and ideas don't build a $29.4 trillion economy. So, our exports and what we manufacture into this country and what we build is what we make our money off of. Our military equipment especially is important.
That's literally not true. The lump sum of our GDP is not manufacturing, right? Hello? Or if it is, then it's not like how much of GDP is manufacturing U.S.? Yeah, it's not even close. Manufacturing is like 10% of the U.S. GDP. And again, this is the problem. You're just making shit up, right? Like if you're not coming to prepare for debates, you're just making shit up. Like that's the strat here, is just make shit up and hope that the other person didn't prepare for the debate at all.
We don't have the technology that we need in this country to manufacture and make our own military equipment. One of the big reasons why we are the #1 superpower in the world, we will lose our spot and fall below China. And friendshoring does not work when your friends are the next major exporter is China, and they are not your friend. They are literally trying to corner and take away from the U.S. economy by short marketing their other suppliers, such as, I don't know, Argentina with their soybeans and everything else. So if you allow a country to take advantage of you in one aspect, they will take advantage of you in every aspect, and then they will go by country by country, and they will start short staffing.
All right. Okay, Cringy, this next question is going to go to you first. Is it possible for the U.S. to maintain an aggressive adversarial posture against China across the domains of security, trade, and technology, while simultaneously achieving the level of trust and policy alignment necessary for genuinely effective long-term collaboration on climate action and other global public goods?
Yeah, probably not. No.
Yeah,
if we're going to be like really adversarial towards them, they're probably just going to say fuck us and not care so much about climate change. Although they do seem to be moving towards.
That's actually a really hard question because there's a natural incentive to deal with climate change. So it's not like the only reason that we deal with climate change is because we have our hands forced, that we just kind of hold hands, kumbaya, and we all agree that this is something to do out of the goodness of our hearts. Like, we have economic incentives to deal with climate change. So I don't know. It's like gonna hurt cooperation, yeah. But like, we'd all be working towards a common good, so there's incentive on both sides to address climate change regardless. That's a really good question, though.
Solar, so maybe the interests of China not being completely flooded will or just ending up in a gigantic drought will probably align U.S. and China climate policy over time. But the adversarial relationship, I probably don't see being resolved until the other foreign and global, I guess, calamities are also resolved.
Okay, Mother, you have 2 minutes.
What was the question?
Oh, let me go back to it. I'm sorry. Give me 1 minute.
Basically, is it possible for us to maintain an aggressive posture towards China while simultaneously achieving a level of trust and respect? Like, can we ride both sides of that line to keep them where we want them but get things done?
In my opinion, no, you can't be easy on China, and not even a little teeny tiny little bit. If you try to negotiate with them and they falter even a little tiny bit, you have to renegotiate or you have to pull. China is not the ones that are going to play kind when it comes to the United States of America and our economy. There's absolutely no inch that you can give them that they will not take a mile at. The minute we start playing nice or thinking that there's going to be some kind of like a mutual respect between America and China is the moment that the American people start to fucking lose more than we already have to that country. We've been working on a quote unquote ally type basis, and the manufacturing jobs that they have incentivized by taking to their country, including with the regulations in our own country, is a problem. If we keep allowing this to happen and the outsourcing to happen because we have a quote unquote ally relationship, we're not going to have any manufacturing, and pretty soon thoughts and ideas are going to be the only thing that we have to sell. And unfortunately, that's not going to maintain our economy.
Cringy, you have 1 minute to rebut.
Yeah, it is a privilege to export thoughts and ideas. Thoughts and ideas such as the latest patents for our amazing pharmaceuticals. I think it is a miracle of free market and free trade. I think it's a miracle of the U.S. free capitalist system that our MMR vaccine was way better than China's ever could be, and we were able to get it to be more get it out faster and be more effective than China ever could. To say that exporting thoughts and ideas isn't profitable or isn't something that a country should strive for, I think is ridiculous. When we export our technologies, when we export our military technology, our military ideas, our pharmaceutical ideas, I think these things create a stronger nation. I think relying on our friends for more basic manufacturing needs is absolutely fine. I have no problem with that.
I don't know if you should say I have no problem with that, because there is some sort of articulatable national security interest, right? Like, but at the same time, it's negligible, right? Like, I don't want to go back to fucking mining coal from mines if it means, like, for national security purposes, if it means that we're not as effective in terms of service, or in terms of like innovative ideas from America. Like, that's not the kind of thing that I would want to engage in. And again, you have to, like, if this is the idea of like not relying on globalism for national security reasons, you have to bite the bullet that is not that it is, you are going to face economic harm for that reason. She wants to live in both worlds here. She doesn't want to consider the counterfactual, which is, again, what MAGA loves doing, right? They love reaping the benefits of one thing while ignoring any of the consequences of actually doing that thing. It's the same thing for immigration. It's the same thing for the Comar Brego Garcia deportation. It's the same thing for January 6th. It's the same thing for letting him walk out of all of these criminal indictments. It's the same for the tariffs. It's especially true of the tariffs. They want to reap all of the benefits of one idea and not consider any of the blowback from those ideas.
I'd like to open the floor for 4 minutes.
Yeah, because I don't think they're far off on this, so let's find some common ground.
Okay.
The problem that I have with that is that when we're paying for these innovations and this technology, the United States taxpayer is paying for this. We're paying for the funding. We're paying for the research. We're paying for the technology. And then when we decide that we're going to let other people use that technology, guess what they do? They steal those patents. They remake the fucking technology and then they sell it as their own. This is a problem that we have with China. The patent stealing is a problem. It's huge, not just for the United States, but other countries as well. This is where they make a big portion of their money is patent stealing. It's patent theft. Also, if we're going to be the ones that are paying for the innovation, the research, and the technology, then they need to be paying us for that. And there needs to be a set of guidelines to where if we're going to be selling this innovations and these ideas to other countries, then the American taxpayer needs to be getting a deal out of that. If we're going to be giving pharmaceuticals to China for hundreds of dollars cheaper than
the American people do benefit for higher GDP. What? A service sector economy does benefit the American people. So do globalist markets, because it's cheaper to produce goods overseas than it is here, right? And we don't have the infrastructure. Like the taxpayer would have to pay if we did like these giant investments of domestic manufacturing as well.
The American taxpayer is going to get it for, but we're the one paying for that technology and those innovations and that research. I think that is counterproductive. I think the United States of America needs to make sure that we have what we need here and that our people are taken care of. And if we're going to sell those things, then we need to sell them and make sure that that patent is secure and that it's ours. Period.
It does seem like China wasn't able to get their hands on the MMR patent for whatever reason, even though it was a widely available vaccine.
True.
I'm sure they could have probably copied the patent if they wanted to. There's silly reason that countries buy the F-35 from the US. It's not like China was able to reverse engineer that.
Yeah, it seems like I've heard problems with patent theft from China. I feel like that's probably, or like intellectual property is the one that I actually hear. Like just more broadly. I mean, it seems like it does present a problem, but the idea that this like undermines us as a service sector economy in general, or like a creative market in general, as if that's not like, as if patent theft is going to be the thing that undermines the United States' place on the world stage, as if, you know, you don't have to have the innovation and reap the benefits of the innovation while the place tries to copy your intellectual property. It's not like you just look at something and then steal it immediately, right? It takes time to do those kind of things. We're already like reaping the benefits of a lot of those things by the time that they could even steal it, I assume.
Union power, because anyway, he wasn't able to reverse a lot of the U.S. technologies because the knowledge, the research and development costs, the technical know-how of the people in the U.S. far surpasses what is in China.
True.
For these specific manufacturing processes that require high levels of skill and years of results with hundreds of tens of thousands of PhD holders, China simply does not have this.
It's not just America, though. It's not just America that is paying for this technology. That's what I was saying when it comes to tariffs. This is also a reason why we give places like Israel $3.8 billion every single year, because that technology that goes into that equipment is built around Israel technology. So that's what I'm saying when it comes to being able to pick and choose who you're going to actually share technology with. You need to make sure that they're not going to be able to replicate, reproduce, or rename it and sell it as their own, which is a serious problem that we have with China when it comes to patent thieves. Also, IP theft. We have all kinds of serious problems that we're going over there, and nobody can deny that.
Yeah, diplomacy tends to help with that. So when countries are reliant on each other for trade items, such as China being reliant for food or us being reliant on China for some manufacturing.
Shit. Yes, that's true. I was thinking, oh my God, cringy. Holy shit. I was thinking about that too. I was like, well, you know, the answer for patent theft is probably just the idea that we just tariff the fuck out of them if they continue to steal our intellectual property. That's probably the idea, or like really fuck over trade with China, which is going to have economic hardship. But like that's like, again, that's part of it, right? You can't just reap all the benefits from one thing and act like there's no downsides to what you want to do. So that's probably the answer. But at the same time, diplomacy is the way that we keep open trade. So like that's a route to holding China accountable is further diplomacy, further cooperation, because we could take away the cooperation if they don't keep stealing our shit. Dude, cringy. What a point, cringy.
Then they're less likely to engage in, I guess, like predatory behaviors like patent stealing.
So
this is why globalism and interconnected trade routes throughout the world and countries being dependent on one another for certain specific resources encourages world peace and diplomacy.
No, if you have no, you cannot have peace and diplomacy with people that want to steal your ideas, your technology, and make it their own.
If the peace and diplomacy decreases that, or if the peace and diplomacy makes it so they don't do that, then yes, you can. That's the whole idea, right? Like if China is dependent on us and we say, hey, if you keep doing this, we're going to pull this thing that you're dependent on, they're going to stop, or they're going to get fucked over to the point where they can't do it, right? So like, it gives them every incentive to.
It's counterproductive.
Do you think China's more or less likely to adhere to like international patent
also,
law?
the fact that this bitch said that Cringy didn't have a response to the patent question, my ass.
If they're within the system and deeply connected with the system, or completely separate from the system.
I would argue that the only people that can make China agree or do that would be the
also kind of weird. I thought we had a problem with asking questions. I thought that Cringy's the moderator, or isn't the moderator, so he's not allowed to ask questions. But all of a sudden, when there's a question that she actually doesn't mind because it's something that's not super adversarial, she has no problem answering the questions, right? The problem isn't that Cringy was asking questions. The problem is that she didn't like the questions, so she didn't want to answer the other questions.
Or the WTO.
Could you answer any of my questions, please? It's so frustrating.
When it comes to trade with China, that would be something that the WTO would have to take care of, not the United States of America. It doesn't have anything to do with diplomacy. When the Belt and
What do you think the WTO is there for? The WTO is diplomatic. No?
Road Initiative exists. When China is actively trying to take America's economy down, we need to take that into consideration.
She's genuinely just not tracking.
Enter that round. The next one is going to be the economy, and this goes to Mother. How should the current federal tax structure for both corporations and individuals be adjusted? Oh, it is?
There you go. Go ahead.
Okay. How should the current federal tax structure for both corporations and individuals be adjusted? And what specific economic benefit do the debaters project these changes would yield over the next 5 years?
I would argue that the current new tax cuts and what the implementations that have been done in the Big Beautiful Bill and making the TCJA tax cuts permanent is a good start. When we have too high of corporate tax rates in the United States of America, it has been proven to show that American corporations, if they're being taxed too much and they have incentives from other countries such as China, they will move manufacturing. They will outsource and they will move.
Probably true.
So when you increase taxes to a point where they don't want to pay it and they can get cheaper manufacturing, cheaper labor, and
this is one thing that I agree with the Republicans on, believe it or not. I feel like high corporate tax rates, this is just vibes-based arguments too. It's like I'm very, very movable on this, but it seems like super high corporate tax rates will probably lead to capital flight. There's no reason to do that. It seems like the real answer, or like the based answer, is just raising the tax bracket for the highest percent, or like raising the taxes on the highest tax bracket. That seems like, or like even adding another tax bracket which you tax the fuck out of. It seems like that's going to be more effective than having a high corporate tax rate. So like cutting corporate taxes seems all right.
Cheaper import tax if a tariff isn't being met, they're going to outsource. So I don't think that raising taxes on
at the same time spending out the ass and then cutting taxes, right? And then not raising taxes in other areas, or not like increasing governmental like income flow at the same time, that's probably not so good. But
big corporations in the United States is going to help. I also don't think that taxing the 1% of earners at such a high rate, or even higher than it is right now, is going to be beneficial to the United States of America at all. I do think that if this happens, these 1% of earners are going to take that money and they're going to offshore it. They will leave the country with that money. They will use it in other places. They will not send it or spend it here. They will not invest it, especially when it's going to be taxed at such a high rate. Now, I do believe that the bottom 10% of earners, their taxes are never going to change. They're never going to go up or down. I think that the middle class is really the ones that kind of take it the hardest when it comes to tax code, because they're kind of the ones that they play with the most. And when they do that, it creates a bigger gap between the rich and the poor. And it has also been proven that when you cut corporate tax rates in the United States of America, production goes up, jobs increase, as well as revenue, and it boosts the economy. Yeah. So I think that you got to be really careful when you're talking about adjusting or raising or doing things to taxes, because there's a domino effect that will happen if you do either or.
Okay, Cringy, you've got 2 minutes.
I generally agree with that.
Yeah, I would say we ought to raise the taxes of both individuals and corporations in order to form a strong welfare state, such as in Norway. While I do not support the entirety of the American welfare system, mainly our healthcare programs, the benefits of high taxation in order to fund a welfare state is clear. For example, a report by the Center of Budget and Policy Priorities, they confirmed the benefits of programs like Social Security by stating, without Social Security, the poverty rate for those aged 65 and over would meet or exceed nearly 40% in nearly 2/3 of states. With Social Security, it's less than 10% in nearly 2/3 of states. Another welfare program that provides overwhelming benefits to society is SNAP. As in a study entitled "How Much Does SNAP Reduce Food Insecurity?" they said that SNAP recipients reduces the likelihood of being food insecure by roughly 30% and reduces the likelihood of being very food insecure by 20%. Because of the benefits of welfare programs like Social Security and SNAP, we therefore ought to raise to raise taxes to fund them. Particularly, I would advocate for the addition of a 15% consumption tax, the raising of income tax brackets by 2%, and an increase in corporate tax by removing certain corporate tax deductions and credits like the fuel tax credit and opportunity zones. The implementation of this tax regime would bring us more in line with countries that have high quality of life as a result of strong welfare states such as Norway.
Okay, Mother, you've got 1 minute to rebuttal.
I don't know what he just said. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look,
wait. All of that was incredibly clear, right? I may even have my disagreements, right? I feel like super high taxes. I don't know. I'm not as like economically literate, right? So I am generally not sympathetic to raising taxes a fuck ton, but I mean at the same time, like there's probably some sweet spot that we can find between here right now in Norway. At the same time, which is where I'd want to be, by the way. Like, I don't know if this is the status quo that I support. I'd probably support raising taxes higher than they are now in order to, increase the welfare state, but to the level of Norway or to the level of the, of like those kind of countries, I don't know. Regardless, though, everything that Cringy said was entirely coherent, all right? And the fact that she doesn't understand doesn't speak to him not knowing what he's talking about. It speaks to her being retarded, right? Like all of that was incredibly comprehensible. You can see Cringy smiling because he understands it, right? Like she literally just said, yeah, I don't know what the fuck that meant. Let's move on.
I don't listen to what my opponent says, true.
Again, it's my turn. Again, so raising taxes on the United States taxpayer is not a good thing. We should only do this when it is absolutely fucking necessary. Every single time. We shouldn't just, oh, the government spent too much fucking money this time. I guess we just raise the taxes on the American people.
But this is brain broken, right? Like this is really stupid though. One, if you ask her, what do you think we should do about the national debt? She would think that that's a high priority, right? How do you address the national debt other than taxing people, right? Like again, it's living in both worlds at the same time. They want a lower debt, but somehow they don't want to increase taxes. How the fuck do you plan on addressing that debt if you don't raise taxes? At the same time, like it's a brain broken, like it shows a very clear lack of critical thinking skills when you just look at taxes. Raising taxes is bad. We should never do it. Right, like it's stupid, right? Like it's a cost benefit analysis. It's super simple, right? Like if raising taxes so much causes corporations to leave, then it's not good because that's going to hurt the economy, right? But if raising taxes a little bit to help the absolute lowest income people actually pull themselves up and engage in the economy in a more responsible way, in a more productive way, then that's really good. That's an investment in the lower income brackets of the country, so they can actually become more productive workers, right? And that benefits the economy, right? So like just doing like this stupid fucking like thought terminating. Oh well, taxes, those are bad. We can't tax. It's fucking stupid. It's just it's a very, very simple thing to comprehend. Everything that Cringy said is super easy to comprehend. This person's just really fucking stupid.
Well, no, that's not what we do, because this is what's causing this problem. This is why corporations are leaving the United States. This is why manufacturing is plummeting. This is why we have all of the problems that we have, is because they keep raising the taxes and raising
also,
the taxes.
these people live in two separate realities depending on what argument there is. Like, there's all of this talk about like, oh, manufacturers keep leaving this country. There's no investment in this country. Everybody keeps leaving. And then you ask them about the tariffs, and they're like, oh, thank God Donald Trump was negotiating with these people to bring all this manufacturing to the country. Sorry? Huh? What?
And then they regulate, and when you regulate and you tax, the incentive to leave grows by about 1,000%.
Okay.
She just made that up, by the way. I know for a fact she just pulled that 1,000 number out of her ass.
Okay, so Mother, has Social Security like net benefit to society?
What?
Did Social Security dramatically reduce the elderly poverty rate?
Social Security?
Uh-huh.
Did it reduce?
Dramatically the elderly poverty rate.
In my personal opinion, no, it didn't.
Okay, well, I just gave you. I cited the study. If you listen to what I said, I cited the study. So
what? That's an empirical question. Did it lower elderly poverty? In my opinion, no. Your opinion doesn't fucking matter. That's not an opinionated question. That's a yes or no question. That's an empirical question. In my opinion, the sky's purple. Okay, congrats. It's not.
I literally do not care what study you cited.
Okay, so you don't care what studies or experts have to say. You care what Mother has to say. So why should I engage in the debate? The only thing that matters is your opinion.
No, the way that I see it personally is that the American people should be allowed to have that their Social Security and all of that shit put into a bank account of their own, so that they have control over it. That's what I think.
Okay, so
I think that Social Security has been a Ponzi scheme upon the American people, to where everybody else is paying for everybody else, and maybe one day, by the time you get to the age that you need to be to collect it, it might not be bankrupt. But again, it might be. So personally, in my opinion, I think what the government should do is they should allow people to have their Social Security taken out of their check, and they should be able to do what they want with it. And then at the end of their fucking age, when they don't have anything else, whose responsibility it's going to be. It's going to be their responsibility. It's not going to be the government's responsibility. I also think that Social Security is being used as the government's personal fucking piggy bank. I think that this is a problem when you're borrowing from Social Security.
This is something that I've noticed she did too. Like, this is an open discussion, right? It's 4 minutes on the floor. You can't spend 2 minutes of it talking on one statement, right? That's you're wasting time. And it's literally filibustering, right? Because she doesn't want any cross-examination. She doesn't want Cringy to actually ask her any questions or dig deeper on what she believes, because then you can actually reveal inconsistencies in people's beliefs, right? Anything but that to a conservative, right?
Borrowing from Medicaid, and you're borrowing it with an interest rate that is much higher than any interest rate that the American people would have to pay on their own, or that they would be able to garner from saving their Social Security and investing it.
Okay, Mother, in a hypothetical society,
no,
okay, wait, I'm just
our elderly are poor.
Mother, please, Mother.
She literally stopped talking and then started talking again when he started talking.
Wow, please. Hypothetically, Social Security. Mother, hypothetically. Wait, no, it doesn't need to be talking ever. I'm sorry. Mother, hypothetically, if Social Security was a net benefit to society, would you advocate for the expansion of that program?
A net benefit? Explain a net benefit.
Whatever you take.
The cost outweighs the good, or the good outweighs the cost.
Explain to me how Social Security is a net benefit. That's my.
I'm sorry, excuse me. I asked you hypothetically, for sake of argument, if there is a society where Social Security.
You're asking me.
So I asked you a hypothetical, and wait, Mother, how do you? I don't think you understand how this works. I asked you a hypothetical question, and in response, you asked me to prove that it does. This was a hypothetical. Can you answer the question?
True.
I don't deal in hypotheticals.
So we answer number 1.
I don't deal in hypotheticals. That's the biggest sign of a retard in the world, by the way.
That's number 3. I'll take it as a concession. Anything else?
This will be the final question.
Also, Cringy is so fucking aggro too. I can understand why this was a shit show. Like, doing the dodge counter is just super easy way to just make the conversation dog shit. But I mean, if anybody's earned it, it's this person, right? Because she hasn't actually critically engaged with literally anything, right? She was literally just there to hear herself talk. That's why she didn't ask any clarifying question on the topic. That's why, yeah.
Yes, and this goes to Cringy first. Okay. What is a specific, measurable plan to address the long-term sustainability of the national debt, and which areas of mandatory or discretionary spending should be prioritized for reform or reduction?
What a good question. This person doesn't believe in raising taxes. I wonder how she plans on paying off the debt.
Probably don't need like a $1 trillion military budget. Probably don't need to spend a bunch of billions of dollars on ice border wall. Just increase funding, and just literally increase tax revenue. Stuff like defunding the IRS, and the Tax Cuts and Job Act are only going to hurt our deficit. If we actually want to solve it, which to be clear, the deficit's not nearly as big an issue as people make it out to be. Like again, there's nothing like inherently bad with debt. Just increase tax revenue, and then don't spend it on like ridiculous policies.
Which, by the way, that was a much better opening statement, because it sounded like he was just saying what he was thinking instead of reading off a opening statement, right? That was a way better opening because it was way more organic.
Go ahead and have 2 minutes.
The debt is unsustainable. Any way you look at it is unsustainable. We need to cut. We need to start cutting bullshit out of the federal government spending. We need to get rid of departments that we do not need. We need to find out who is spending our money and where it is going. And if
cutting in the federal government is only going to reduce the deficit that we're in. How do you actually plan to address the debt? Are we just going to keep this much debt forever? Is that the idea?
It's not going to the intended purposes. We need to get rid of it. We need to cut it out. If we are delegating billions and billions of dollars to go.
Also, yeah, if it's not going to the intended purposes, there's already a way to cut that spending, right? We already do that. It's what the Office of the Inspector General is there for, but everybody seems to forget about that.
To feeding certain countries, that money should not be going to like promulgate LGBTQ agendas in other countries. That money is not for that. I don't know why our money is being going to fund things that we couldn't even afford in our own countries, but is going to afford things in other countries. We cannot sustain this. If we do not start cutting the federal waste that is happening in the country, as well as the lag that we have in the resource drain on illegal immigration and immigration altogether when it's not legal, we are drowning. $150 billion every single.
What Cringy should ask is like, okay, we cut a bunch in the federal government, right? So the deficit goes from whatever the fuck. What's the deficit at right now? Deficit's at 1.7 trillion, right? So let's say we cut a bunch of fraud in the government and it goes to 1 trillion instead of 1.7 trillion, right? What now? How do you deal with the deficit, right? If you cut $1 trillion, assuming that there's $1 trillion in fraud, let's say that let's assume that there's like 1.2 trillion. We're left with with 500 billion per fiscal year, right? What now? What do you do to deal with that deficit? What do you do to deal with the overall debt that we're accumulating? Nothing. Like, your answer can't just be cut from the federal budget, because all that's going to do is lower the deficit. That's not actually going to address any of the problems with the debt. The only thing that actually would address the problem with the debt is increasing federal money making, because we can actually start paying off that debt instead of working at a deficit this whole time, right? The only way that you can have a budget surplus is if the federal government makes money. The only way the federal government makes money is through taxes.
Year just to house and close people that are not Americans is a problem. When we have our government spending billions and billions of dollars on researching on animals, then we know that this does not give us any beneficial outcomes at all.
Animal research absolutely does give us beneficial information. What the fuck are you talking about? Why would we do it if it didn't? Like, all of these people just live in this like simultaneous world where everyone in the fucking federal government are these like hypothetical, like evil fucking geniuses that control every single part of the entire fucking country. Through like the deep state or whatever. The deep state controls everything. They buy everything. They're all, acting to control the entire national dialogue, but they're also so retarded that they fund like animal research for no goddamn reason. Why? Like, for what? What do you gain from that?
We need to stop doing that. When we have big pharma taking taxpayer dollars, but are then using those taxpayer dollars to then tax the American people on their pharmaceuticals by over 500 times what they tax other countries, yeah, that's a problem. We need big pharma is a problem. Big education is a problem. I think these institutions, Harvard and all of these other places, do not need to be getting the federal funding that they're getting every single year. I think as these Ivy League schools, if the parents want to send their kids there, great, fine, they can pay for it. If not, I think that a lot of this money needs to be going into trade schools. It needs to be going into teaching these children how to do manufacturing and agriculture and business.
Yeah, okay, the less productive jobs. Yep, the less productive jobs. We need to increase I want a less productive society. Yep, of course.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, Cringy, I'm so sorry. You shouldn't be talking. Yeah, you shouldn't be talking over her. That was her time. You now have a minute to rebuttal.
Sure.
Don't even take it all. Just say, hey, that wasn't actually a plan to deal with the debt, right? Like that, you were just talking about cutting the deficit. That doesn't actually address the debt. If you think this is a really big problem, really unsustainable problem, you should actually have a plan to deal with the debt, but you don't. You just have a plan to lower the deficit somehow. You don't actually have a plan to make the deficit non-existent, right? You don't have a plan to actually deal with any of the overlying debt. You just want to cut the deficit in half. Okay, that doesn't do anything, right? We're still working at a deficit. Cringy should just say, hey, you don't have a plan to actually deal with the debt. You just want to invest in low productivity jobs. That's fucking stupid.
Again, it's clear we shouldn't be investing in trade schools. Trade schools are trade industries are less productive than industries like software development or people who are able to get a college degree or diploma. I believe I want a more productive nation with a more productive economy. I don't know why somebody would possibly advocate for the increase to trade schools massively. That just doesn't seem like something that is reasonable for the future of our economy or the outlook of America on the world stage, again, against enemies like China. I would like to ask though, if raising taxes benefits society, ought we raise taxes? I would like that question answered by Mogger, because I would say that raising taxes does benefit society, and that we do ought to raise taxes. Again, I have proven that programs like Social Security, I gave you to say, I've proven that programs like SNAP do benefit society. I see no reason to defund them. The type of fraud that Mogger is suggesting just simply isn't happening.
Okay, you went to 4 minutes with an open panel.
Okay, so Mogger, if raising taxes benefits society, ought we raise taxes?
Fraud. I didn't say anything about fraud, so I don't know what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you're talking about I'm sorry.
You were saying that we need to cut down on fraud in the federal government, that things were going to places that wasn't allocated for. That's literally all you were talking about. What? Really?
I meant waste. You're talking about government waste, like where the money's going. I'm sorry, I misspoke. But if taxes benefit society, ought we raise taxes?
Is that what you said?
No, can I get an answer to the question real quick?
Government waste doesn't exist. Is that what
I'm saying? I'm saying not to deep not to deep.
Government waste doesn't exist.
Okay, Mother. So I asked you a question. Can I get a goddamn answer?
$1 billion that has been found that we were selling just on.
Do you understand the conversation? We're supposed to answer that.
Haven't been renegotiated, but the bill is still being paid. Tens of billions of dollars are being go to fulfill government contracts that have been expired for over 10 fucking years. This is hundreds of billions of dollars that the American taxpayers are paying while the government contracts are expired. This is hundreds of billions of dollars worth of waste in the government that you're talking about.
I'm just curious. If raising taxes benefits society, ought we raise taxes?
We have $37 trillion.
If raising taxes benefits society, ought we raise taxes?
There's no government waste or fraud.
Mother, I need you to stop rambling about irrelevant shit. I need you to start answering the questions I ask you.
I'm still on the call.
No, I need you to start answering this question. If raising taxes benefits. Mother, if raising taxes, I literally do not give a shit what you're talking about right now. If raising taxes benefits society, ought we raise taxes?
Funding from the military, like you said, then why wouldn't you, number one, be all about auditing the government and finding out where our money is going and making sure that the Pentagon isn't blowing our money on shit that we aren't supposed to be spending money on? It's been 7 years since they've been able to pass a
Mother,
audit.
if raising taxes benefits
into the Pentagon, then we shovel into any other.
Okay, so we dodge number one.
So
it's gonna be dodge number two.
Why, if you
be dodge number three. Yeah, you act like an intentional child.
Why the Pentagon hasn't been able to pass an audit for 7 fucking years? That's what I'd like to know.
Also, she wouldn't like to know that, because if she would like to know that, she would have just looked it up. It's incredibly simple to find why the Pentagon hasn't passed an audit in 7 years, because they changed the auditing system, right? So the way that these audits are conducted isn't conducive to the new system. It's going to take them a couple years to actually be able to like basically conform to the new system, right? That answer is super, super easy to find, but these people don't want answers, right? They just want to, like, they want to jack off. They want to ask questions, ask them into the void, never look for the answer, act like it's a giant conspiracy because of it, but somehow still pretend like all of these people that are controlling the world, that are secretly operating, pulling the strings behind this entire world economy, are so retarded that they just fund animal research because they think it's funny. I would love to live in a world that is as simple and as complicated at will as conservatives live in.
If raising taxes benefited society, ought we raise taxes?
Talking about the Pentagon not passing an audit, I don't know where you're going with this.
So that's the first question I asked you, and you didn't answer it. So you didn't answer that question.
I'm talking about government.
It's going to be... Okay, so it's going to be dodge number 1, moving to number 2. If you raise taxes,
How do you get government spending in order? How do you get government spending in order if you don't have any funding for the federal government?
The Pentagon.
So you number 2, moving to number 3. If raising taxes benefits society, ought we raise
You're not
taxes?
running the debate. Like, I asked you a specific question.
Stab number 3, I'll take this in a second.
And you're not answering it.
No, I'm literally... I don't want that.
Cringy asked his debate first. Cringy asked his question
first.
first. Cringy asked his question first, by the way. She asked a question in response to his question, and she's acting like that supersedes somehow.
Questions. Did you finish first grade? You know the answer question when I ask it. Do you know what a Socratic seminar is?
Why are we raising taxes on Americans before we know where
when somebody asks you, did you have waffles for breakfast, you go on a ramble about how good pancakes are? Because I asked you a basic question, and you're not able to respond.
I need to know why are we raising taxes on the American people before we are finding out where the money is going that has already
going to be a non-answer to question.
We already know.
I'm going to ask
we
you again.
allocate the money. Why the fuck do you think we don't know where it's going? Just because you don't know where it's going, that doesn't mean the federal government doesn't know where it's going.
If raising taxes benefits society, ought we raise taxes, mother?
All over the place.
Ought we raise taxes, mother?
He's been asking the same question over and over again.
No, we're not. We should not raise taxes.
So you don't want to do things that benefit society, mother. You're telling me that you don't want to do things that benefit society.
We should find out where
society to suffer.
What a retard. Okay, we're done. That was a BTFO, so true. But it's not even like Cringy did perform very well. Not to take anything away, right? But like I feel like my 12-year-old niece could probably perform really well against a retard like that. We have to try. It's too
actually do some fucking research.
My brother thankfully
sent topics were gonna be, but
you don't get to control it.
What you wanted to do was be lazy, weak, fucking liberal, and let a fucking talking point do your fucking work for you, like you always fucking do. You guys don't have original thoughts. You guys would rather let a fucking.
Oh no! He looked up sources and prepared for the debate. I can't.
Actually, have a fucking debate yourself.
Can you believe this guy making sure to prepare for a debate? Who does that shit? I just go and make shit up when I debate personally, okay?
Yeah, we know.
She actually sent me the preparations. So for each of the opening, topics, he had an opening statement. And
Cringy. Hey, I got a great question for you right now. Right off the top of your head.
I did not debate last
Stop. Listen. I'm going to ask you a question right now, and you have to answer it immediately. You have to answer it immediately, so you can't look it up. Tell me about the patents.
Listen, I want to ask you something.
Listen, dude, I ain't fucking talking to you right now. I'm talking to the dude up top, so stay on mute or you're going to leave too. Tell me about the patents.
Bro, they keep denying my request.
The China one? Like the one, what? Patents? What?
You fucked that question up too. The patents you were talking about and how China doesn't. Well, Mother said China doesn't abide by the patents. You were saying that we needed to ship basically some of our manufacturing jobs over there because that would help boost our economy. So can you please elaborate on that without chat?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I think very, very simply, when we ship like manufacturing jobs over to China, what we like prioritize is a simple comparative advantage, like prioritize on like a higher skilled manufacturing or higher skilled service sector jobs. That means that we can be more competitive in those specific sectors, and China can be more competitive in manufacturing. At the same time, this is more efficient for both economies because being able to produce cheaper. We can also they'll also mean that we're both interconnected, and they'll encourage us to work together and be partners and not take aggressive stances.
While doing so,
hang on, AIP. I was letting him finish. I'm not going to do the same thing he does. I'm not going to do this shit with you. So now then she brought up the national security, and then she said you had brought up patents, and then she butted you saying that China doesn't listen to the patents anyways. They steal stuff. Hence why we've been trying to get them out of here in certain areas, especially the one in Texas. I don't know if you remember that in like 2021, where they burned everything in Texas.
I don't know if that's. I don't think that's entirely true. But once again, I wasn't actually the one debating. It was my brother. I'm his twin. So stop referring to me. It was
fix
Cringy.
it then. Fix his
Okay,
statement.
I'm scared. Excuse me. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So
I'm
maybe
sorry.
like actually, there. Hello. What's up, man?
He's so mad.
I can't do two of those creepy ass fucking annoying voices at one time, so only one of you gets to talk at once, okay?
Yeah, true.
Okay.
We're the annoying ones when you're yelling constantly.
Shut the fuck up.
True. Literally,
Crash out.
constant spiral of crash out.
Get both of them. Get them.
We are having the ego.
America
He's
being
white
stealing
people
from
that are
China.
the same stupid guy.
The gunpowder technology and went on a rampage of world domination with it.
Okay, since you want to brought up the issue with the powder, do you mind telling me when the powder was created?
Listen,
There you go.
listen.
Why you always, bro, why I gotta give you these?
I'm asking you a question. Do you mind answering the question? Answer the question.
Like I
When
say,
was-
I don't
when
come
was
with
the
the
powder
detail.
created?
I'm not a scholar in none of this stuff. I know the basics. Like,
But you know
I
what?
just
We
can't
got the
tell a lot.
gunpowder. We went on a rampage, and we are now the top
Y'all
dog
went on
of the world.
a murderous
And
rampage.
And we dropped the sun twice on Japan and freed China. So what now? China
Yeah.
owes me.
Huh?
What now? China can
I
sit
just
down.
wanted to point that out.
They're
like,
free
y'all
from Japan
been
now.
stealing-
Hey,
y'all been
we paid them back. They're free from Japan.
We been
They were
stealing from
almost
China.
Japanese.
Not me.
Hey, they were. You're not listening. They were almost Japanese because they were under the control of the Empire of Japan up until we dropped some suns on them a couple times, if you know what I mean. Maybe not, but we took care of them during World War II. Okay?
That was the darkest time in American history.
Yeah, but they're not
That's why.
Japanese, are they? They're still Chinese, aren't they? Yeah.
That was a sad time in American history. Like, how many
You know
people
what?
died?
Do you know what they were doing to people over there?
Quite
They're
amazing.
scientists?
Oh my
Wow.
God.
What we did back then, because Japan has not been a problem.
I mean, Jesus Christ. That's the only
Yeah,
time
they don't
that
like.
that's
They
the
don't touch
only
our
time
boats
they
no more
have
either.
used America the only people to ever use such devastating weapons.
Yeah,
You know that?
this is what happens. If you punch me, I'm gonna punch back harder.
If you touch my boat, I'm going to sink your island.
Damn. That's a little
Listen,
harsh.
I'm all
though,
for
man.
turning
That's
that desert into a skating rink too. Don't
shouldn't
play
be
with
so
me.
heartless. That's the problem with Republicans. Right
Cold
there.
as
So heartless,
ice.
man.
I don't have to like the rest of the world. They don't like us. I don't have to like them.
Cold, man. Y'all
I
just
don't
hate
have a
everything.
heart.
Y'all
My
hate
heart
us
is
too.
gone.
Y'all hate us as
No, we
Democrats. Y'all
didn't.
hate
We
us.
don't. We
No,
don't
we
hate
don't
y'all.
hate you as Democrats.
We were.
Hold on,
We
now,
were.
I'm
too
just going
hateful,
to jump
man.
in here real quick.
I don't know who you are.
No, you're not.
So we don't. We love y'all. We allowed y'all to stay instead of deporting you back to Africa. We allowed the Native Americans to stay instead of deporting them back to Asia.
Yo sorry ass couldn't deport nothing, man. Yo punk ass wasn't even
Hey, Brain.
say
Brain.
nothing like about that.
Professor, that's out of
Deporting
line.
Not
anybody.
deporting them back to
That's way out
Asia.
of line.
Hey, Brain.
Tommy,
Brain.
Yo stink ass won't deport your ass in the shower. Go wash your ass, bro. Talk about deporting somebody.
Hey, Brain.
this is the whole.
I just want to
can't
say,
believe
I
thing.
just want to set
Democrats
the
tell me
record
that I'm going to
straight.
be next to be deported because they're going to come on the reservations and start picking off Native Americans. So I hear this shit like daily. They go
Hey, Brain.
They gonna come for you. They're coming for the res ones next. Yeah, I hear that shit all the fucking time. Come to the res, dude. I dare you.
I'm Native American myself. I dare anybody to step in
Okay,
line.
whatever.
Tommy.
Dude. Hey, Brain, I just want to set the record straight and let you know that regardless of what everybody else on this panel thinks,
I don't know how
I
long
do
it's gonna
hate
take.
Democrats.
They like freak the fuck out
I
about
hate-
like
I
patiently
hate
waiting.
MAGA. I hate MAGA
about
too,
like
so
people
I
coming
hate
without
MAGA
introduction.
See, so why do I have to
They
be nice
never
to you if
introduce
you don't
anybody.
like me? Why do I have to be nice to you and you don't like me? You can talk all the kind of crap you like. Not saying that I'm MAGA, but like if you say that I don't like Democrats, but you hate MAGA, why?
I hate MAGA, but I don't hate everybody else.
I don't have to like you. I don't have to be nice to you. I just have to live in the same country on the same rock as you. But guess what? If I had it my way, we have not let any other government in this world maintain any sort of power after what they've done to people, but the Democrats have tortured people beyond belief, and yet you let them stay. The party gets to stay.
What kind of word salad shit was that?
Hey.
I hate MAGA.
Okay, you want to go through? You want to go through a quick? Listen. Hey. During the Revolutionary War, who was the turncoat to Britain during the Revolutionary War? Who was the spy to Britain? Which party? Where'd he go?
He left.
Go? Did he leave or did somebody drop him?
My powers are not working, so I couldn't drop him.
Oh, he ran. He ran. Nobody dropped him.
He ran.
Oh, by the way, Brain, nobody up here is MAGA.
No.
Not one person.
But I don't still have to like you. Because I don't like people just to like them.
I mean, I have a beanie that says Harris lost and it is colored red. I mean, if that counts for anything.
It does. I would love. I want one.
Sweet. All right. I mean, me personally, I don't hate anybody. I would have to care to hate someone, but I just think he's an idiot.
I despise the Democrat Party. Not the people, because the people, these weirdos think they're a part of the club and they're not.
Bear, do you think he's just stupid or he might be
wait, Mother's talking. Hang on, Mother's talking.
How old are you? Who'd you vote for?
I am 22. I proudly voted for Kamala Harris.
Proudly, nice.
We love that for you.
Proudly, oh boy.
Proudly, capital P.
Vote for Tommy.
Yes, ma'am.
How old are you? Who'd you vote for, love?
I'm 54 Trump. Can I ask right side, because he proudly voted for
looking for ops,
Kamala.
love. I'm looking for ops. Thank you.
Also, I don't think it was right side that proudly voted for Kamala. I think it was me.
Yeah, definitely not me.
I love all of my MAGA followers, but I just don't identify as MAGA because I'm a constitutionalist, and most of my chat knows there's most people on the left that I can't stand just as much as I can't stand on the right. I don't pick and choose. Stupid is as stupid does, and I don't deal with stupid very well. So, what is it that you think that I was crashing out about?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I mean, I think that, when we're rejecting the institution of preparing for debates, I think that's probably then screaming whenever the person comes up. I don't know. I think that's a little bit of a crash out. I think that whenever you get humiliated in a debate because we can't answer a question, I don't know.
It wasn't preparation. It was ChatGPT.
No, it was preparation, right? I watched him. I've read through his immigration doc. He does a lot of preparation.
Beforehand.
What's that?
Prepare if you don't know the questions that you're going to be asked.
I feel like whenever you're going into a debate, you should probably know what the topic is, right?
Yeah, well, they didn't though. We didn't though.
So how did Cringy prepare then?
No, there's
he's on
exactly the
exactly.
Point. Exactly.
Okay, it's not.
That was the point.
It's not the case that he was told specific outlines of what he'd be talking about, that he did research into building his position on those topics. That's not possible.
Building his position on those topics. He asked if we were going to be talking about the Constitution. He said that he had a couple questions pertaining to a couple different things, but it didn't say anything about the involvement of the question, the different topics that the question actually hit upon. And if it did, then he would have been able to answer those questions. But unfortunately, what really ended up fucking him over is when he was asked a question and gave an answer that wasn't even pertaining to the question that was asked because ChatGPT didn't understand the question.
Or do you think it's more likely that he just didn't prepare for that particular question? Don't you think that specifically speaks against him using ChatGPT?
No, it was exactly what it was. It was him using a fucking computer to debate.
You could tell pretty easily when people are speaking in a format.
The problem is that all of the Republicans fake MAGA people, right? Yeah, go ahead.
If nobody got the debate questions like he's saying he didn't, how come he said he wrote them all out? He wrote his responses out.
Because there was general outlines that I saw. I saw the document that he wrote up.
But how did he write a general outline on topics that nobody knew?
You knew the general topic.
We could have talked about the burning the flag at that time.
He had general topics. He wrote general talking points off those general topics.
Nobody knew the general topics.
That's just not true. I mean, he told me what the general topics were ahead of time.
Okay, exactly, but nobody was told the topics ahead of time.
So he literally, if he told me the topics ahead of time, that he knew.
Listen, just because you're coming up here to defend your friend, nobody knew the topics ahead of time.
Okay, you're wrong. I'm sorry, babe.
He said he didn't get it ahead of time
Substantiate your
when he was up
evidence
here.
on how she's wrong.
He literally prepared a document of opening statements and
We
shit.
knew that we were going to be talking about certain fucking things.
Exactly.
The problem, I'm going to state this again. The problem is we were only given one-word topics, not the fucking basis of the entire fucking question. So how the fuck can you prepare an answer for a question that you don't know you're going to get asked pertaining to a certain one-word topic? Oh, that's right. You fucking can't.
The answer is that the debate was on immigration, and I don't know if you've read his immigration document, but he's done a lot of immigration research, right? So I wouldn't. I believe
It wasn't on immigration.
you can look
he
at his
hasn't done
document.
any immigration research.
It's publicly available, babe. I don't know why we're
So,
pretending like he
sir.
didn't do a lot of information research on this.
Sir,
Let Mike go.
sir, ma'am. He hasn't done any immigration research. He just he copies it from ChatGPT and puts his name at the top.
Okay.
Prove me wrong.
I think at least, I think
No,
instead of using nothing, you
Rinyald.
should yeah, I can't prove a negative,
Prove me
buddy.
wrong.
I think he has a document. He literally has documents with sources listed. That's the only way that I could really prove you wrong, right? But honestly, I think that instead of using nothing to prepare for a debate, honestly, ChatGPT is probably better than nothing to prepare for debates, babe.
You are going to shut up because I want to know what part you're lying to me about or what part he's lying to me. Nobody's answered that effing question and we're not moving past it because he said he didn't get any topics ahead of time when he was just up here. And now he's gotten topics. So did he or did he not get topics? Or did he not write out something prior because he announced that on the live? Which is it? And don't lie.
He wrote out something prior.
I was there and watched it too.
So you're right and he's wrong.
I've talked to him. I don't know if you understand that. I've talked to him.
Green, hold on a second. Because you're saying that there is no way
to answer. It's fucking annoying.
Answer the
I did answer the question. I did answer the question. He prepared ahead of time. I did.
But he said he didn't, and he said he didn't get the topics when he was just up here.
He got the one-word topics. He prepared for the one-word topics.
He said he didn't get anything ahead of time when he was just up here.
What do you mean? What do you think he meant when he said I didn't get anything ahead of time?
He didn't get the topics ahead of time. He said, "No, I didn't."
Do you think the moderator just said, "Hey, Cringy, debate," and he was like, "Yeah, debate," and then he just went up to talk about whatever? Do you think that's what happened?
We debate him like on a nightly basis. Yeah, he absolutely fucking does do that.
Well, I would advise against that. Listen, I would advise you engage in the liberal institution of doing research for debates. I'm not gonna lie.
Listen. If you want to lick his butthole, that's a totally different thing. Do you want to debate Mother's Live or not?
Let's do it. Let's
cool. I said cool. That was all I fucking knew.
I would advise you not do that. If you want to talk about anything, you can.
Hey, let's debate right now. No,
Let's do it.
No,
all your guys' talking points. I don't need to prepare for the same shit that you guys have been spewing.
Well, clearly you do because you lost that debate. So clearly you do need to prepare.
What do I need to prepare for?
She didn't though.
Who teaches them how to? Who teaches you how to debate? Genuine question.
Hey, Rinyald, why don't you articulate in detail which specific topic she lost?
Yeah, when she was unable to answer. Oh.
Or was it the time that he talked over her the entire 4 minutes every
muted.
time he got a 4-minute rebuttal?
Yeah, I think whenever you're unable to answer a very specific question about Ellis Island, I think that looks really, really bad. I don't know.
She did. She was trying to answer it. He was talking over the entire time.
What was the answer?
I wasn't asked a specific question by the debate host about Ellis Island. Cringy doesn't run the fucking debate. I don't have to answer his questions.
I'm sorry, do you know what cross-examination is?
For one, that's the fucking first problem the kid has.
Yeah, I believe that you wouldn't answer that question. I don't know if you know how to answer statements with a question mark after it.
I maintained the debate the whole fucking time, and he wasn't even in charge. Yeah. I don't have to answer his questions.
I'm sorry, how are we going to get to actual positions if you can't ask clarifying questions?
What exactly did he
That wasn't a clarifying question.
That was a clarifying question. Do you believe that we should have been importing people through Ellis Island? That was a very clarifying question.
Wait a second. When is cross-examination part of the debate format?
It's not.
What debate format are you talking about? Like, are you genuinely doing debates where you can't ask questions?
Cross-examination has to do with litigation.
That's what actually, that is exactly what the host of the debate told Cringy, and he would not stop doing it.
Wait, I thought he didn't tell him anything beforehand. I thought he just said, "Hey, Cringy, debate," and he was like, "Yeah, let's debate."
He told him to
first time
stop asking me fucking questions because he wasn't fucking in charge.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous. I think that if you're debating, you should be able to ask questions.
It's not your debate, though. Trying to do exactly
It's
what
not
the
your
fuck you're doing right now is run my fucking live.
Yeah.
Rin, the thing is that originally the format of the debate was established as a similar to a presidential debate. It was a question to be asked and a response and back and forth. But that was not pertaining to cross-examination. Now, when we go to the matters of the topic, you said that he has a manuscript pertaining to all this research that he has done. Do you have a copy of that document? Because if you do, you can go to a page. Okay, do you have a copy of the document? Perfect. Can you put that document into a software pertaining to the recognition of AI construction?
We can't. I mean, when it has sources and
I just want to be
quotes,
completely
right?
clear here.
Do so.
I just want to be completely.
Do so and give
Hold
us the
on.
result.
You gotta wait your turn.
I mean, when it has
Alright.
sources and quotes, that
Please
seems
do
like
so,
kind of a
right?
weird thing to run
Tell us
through
which
AI,
one is
right?
the result. And show the result.
I think it's just that conservatives can't comprehend that somebody actually does research to come to political conclusions, right? That's why this guy challenged me to a debate with no notes. Like, why the fuck would we debate with no notes? That's stupid, right? We're trying to get to the answer of a question.
I can. I can debate I could debate you right now and Cringy.
Yeah, because
with no
conservatives don't
notes.
give a fuck about empirical reality. So obviously you can debate me without notes because you just throw shit at the wall.
Hey,
Yeah, obviously.
I can still answer Cringy's question about Ellis Island. Yes, they turned people back at Ellis Island because at that time, when Ellis Island was a thing, they had numbers and quotas. You can go back and look at the original 1910, 1914 immigration law at the time. They had specific percentages of people they would let in. That is the answer to Cringy's question about Ellis Island. And it had nothing to fucking do with the topic of the border. Dummy.
Yeah, so what was Cringy's question?
I don't give a shit.
I don't know. You want to? Are you trying?
Okay, so you're answering a question that you don't know?
No
problem.
Debate,
No problem.
Did you just come up here to fucking stroke his dick? I don't understand. Why the fuck are you up here?
Let's have a debate. I don't know why a constitutionalist would vote for Donald Trump.
You got your notes? Do you have your notes?
Yeah.
You can't even debate without notes. You're fucking stupid.
Yeah, sorry. I use sources to come to conclusions, unlike Republicans. I'm so sorry.
Actually,
Yeah, I know that makes me an idiot. I know. I understand.
What I would like you to do is I would like you to turn your camera on and not use your notes.
Why?
Because it tests your intellectual fortitude.
My intellectual fortitude isn't what's being cross-examined right now. What a debate should be is taking a prompt and coming to the correct conclusion. Notes should be encouraged in debates because you should be getting to the correct answer. We're not just here to jerk off over who's technically more logically sound.
So you're not confident without a computer.
No, it's that we should be getting to the accurate answers, and Republicans are incredibly scared to do that for some reason.
So you haven't done any prior research in advance.
I do research on a ton of things.
Oh, so you just don't. So you just don't remember it. So you
I remember it. Yeah, sure. What?
So your ability to retain information is poor.
It doesn't matter. Why should notes not be encouraged? Do you think notes make people smarter?
You got your notes, or did you go to
your
the
ability to retain
I have plenty of notes. If you want to debate on whatever, we can debate on whatever.
No, because I'm gonna use no notes.
Yeah, I know because.
All right, let Mike go.
I know you're going to use no notes because you're stupid. I understand that. Yeah, because you have no notes to use. I understand.
So you've already lost because you resorted to ad hominems.
Actually, that was a level 4 ad hominem.
The quickest debate I've ever had. Thank you.
Yeah, the debate that you're having is whether or not we should use empirical reality to come to conclusions, dumbass.
Okay,
what a good debate win there, buddy.
Okay. What separates empirical reality from notes on a paper and thoughts in a brain?
Testing the validity of the notes on the paper.
Can I not do that in my head?
How are you going to do that if you don't know the notes on the paper?
Retaining the information on the paper.
How do you do that with no notes on the paper?
Retaining the information prior to the debate starting.
Do you think you're going to have a better debate if you have all of the information written down?
I don't need the information written down because
I'm not asking if you need it. Do you think you'd have a better debate with the information written down so you could just refer back to it?
Not, because I could just regurgitate it.
Okay. See, that's the
Rather-
problem. Is that
I don't
Republicans
think you guys
incorrectly
understand
regurgitate
this.
information that they
Rather
don't
than
understand,
pausing
and
every
that's their
5
debate
minutes,
strategy. Thank you
rather
for
than
reaffirming
pausing
my
every
whole
30
entire problem with this debate
You
sphere
don't
is
get to
that
act like
you
that.
just proudly,
You don't get to act like that.
you proudly,
You don't just get to talk because that's what Cringy did too.
yeah,
you
you
don't
just
get to
proudly
talk
make
over
shit up,
people.
and that's your debate strategy. I love you guys.
Hey,
Make
you did too. You don't
Okay.
just get to talk over people.
shit up, and that's your debate strategy. I love you guys. Okay,
Hey,
we had fun.
you don't know because you have
Congresswoman Eleanor Holmes was just scammed out of.
That's the problem with like doing debate as sophistry instead of like actually getting to answers, is that they'll proudly just say, yeah, why should I have notes? You should do research. You should, like, they're literally, I said like, oh yeah, maybe you should engage in the liberal institution of doing debates to come to conclude, or doing research to come to conclusions. They genuinely said no, forehead. Oh shit.
Rinyald.
What's going on?
Couple of things. Okay, one,
Yeah.
check your DMs. Two, when they said that I had previously said that I never got the questions, they were talking to Scratch, bro. They thought I was Scratch. And Scratch had just said something that was wrong.
Oh my god.
I'm pretty sure they knew that too.
Dude, these guys are such retards. Oh my god.
They are.
No, I said
Bro, okay,
I said as a
wait,
joke.
I sent
like
you the DMs. Wait, I sent you the DMs that the host sent to me. Like you
Yeah.
can look through them.
Also,
like,
there will be a
did you just
couple of
get-
topics being 90 minutes. We can do 3 topics: the economy, immigration, foreign policy. You would like to send a question for each to be asked to Mother, that's fine. Okay, yeah, and he just gave you all the topics. Okay.
But yeah, did you read the I think it was the second one where he just like literally gives me
Yeah,
the
yeah,
topics.
yeah. They genuinely did like this
Oh,
is
yeah, and then,
the
like, wait,
liberal
if you look at
institution
very-
of using research to come to conclusions. They
Yeah, if you look at the very last DM,
Yeah.
that is a link to the Google Drive PDF where my entire opening statement and all my notes were.
Did you send that before the debate?
I sent, yeah, so we could just like see my sources. Yeah.
Oh my god. That's awesome.
So if the host of the debate doesn't get this shit figured out and tell everybody that I'm in the fucking right here for being like the most openly transparent motherfucker.
True. Real. Okay, I
I'm
gotta go
gonna
back to
DM him.
Parker's. I gotta
Yeah,
go back
okay.
to Parker's. All right, I love you. I hope you get it figured out. I hope you enjoyed me white knighting for you for a night.
I love you.
I love you too, buddy.